Hi, and welcome to Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Hey, this episode here, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the tournaments that just ended this last weekend here all over the place, particularly one in Charleston, South Carolina, which is the first start of the clay court for them, and then Houston championships in Houston, Texas, which is the first start of the clay season for the men. And a couple of the small tournaments, Charleston was actually the 500 event. Jessica Pegula won that in two sets. Actually, she had been playing really good and very fighting for every match that she played. I think she ended up playing like three set matches to get to the final, and then she took care of it in two sets. So that's good for Jessica, and she has really been on a wonderful winning streak right now to be playing like she is. And going into the French Open, she has just a good shot to be able to do something good and at least making it into the semifinals or maybe better. Who knows with that? And then there was then in Basta Marie Bozoka 250. There was one there that was played. And then Houston, Tommy Paul ended up winning. That was 250. And then there was also Maria Martin Landales Jaudet, Grand Prix of Hassoul Marikia 250 event, ended up winning that one. So those were on clay also. So sorry for messing the names up. Those are kind of different names for the places that they were playing at. But the two, mainly starting within the U.S., going on into Europe now, have been then the starting of the clay season for them, and then they're off to Europe, and then starting out in Monte Carlo, which is then such a wonderful, beautiful scenery in Monte Carlo, with them playing on a red clay tennis court overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Sometimes that's where they have Grand Prix racing there in Monaco, is where Monte Carlo is, Monaco, and they race the Grand Prix racing around the Monaco streets there and stuff. So sometimes that's pretty awesome to watch too. I'm sure you get to see the raw power of those cars anyway. With the Grand Prix cars. But with that, that's where they're going to be starting. And actually, this week has been the first week of them playing in Monte Carlo, which now happened, which I've seen Carlos and I've seen Yannick Sinner playing, and those two look really unstoppable right now on clay. So more than likely, and what are your predictions? Just let me know, and like, subscribe, and comment, and on my YouTube podcast. And then you podcasters out there, you're going to hear about the racket of the week that will be coming up, and then you'll be seeing it as well. But you podcasters out there, like, subscribe, and comment. And with that too, if you want to take a look at the racket of the week, then you can certainly do that with going to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk. So with that too in mind, then starting out this week with the Monte Carlo Open, a lot of good play there. The women are playing, the men are playing in Monte Carlo, and the women are playing in Linz. So another red clay tennis court for the women to start and be playing on too. So it's just a matter of those two and how they fit, and then leading up to the big Grand Prix, the French Open, for the main Grand Prix for French Open for everybody to be playing. So that's going to be really nice too, as far as that goes, with playing in that also. And then, like I said, leading up to the French Open, you'll have after Monte Carlo, I think it's going to be the German Open, then it's going to be a German Open, Italian Open, and after that, a couple more leading up into the French Open. So that will be a good tournament there, the French Open. What's your prediction, everybody? Let me know in comments what your prediction might be for the winner of the French Open and on the men's and women's side. So, any kind of predictions or percentages that you might have? Percentage on Sinner winning it, percentage on Alcaraz winning it, percentage on Zverev winning it, or Taylor Fritz, or Arena Sabalenka. Any percentages on what she might win it, or Rabakina, or maybe Coco Gauff, or Jessica Pegula in the mix there, playing in the French Open, and see what happens with that also. So, with that, I just kind of covering the base here, and then I will be next week be celebrating a big episode, the ending of the third year of my podcast, and going to be the next one after that, the starting of the fourth year. So that'll be fun, and hopefully I will get another Zoom in with somebody that you'll be able to see that, and it should be. I've been getting the kinks worked out, so hopefully that'll work out, and I'll get somebody for next week's podcast for Zoom. And then with that, just keep in mind, Murphy Jensen, Luke Jensen, keep it in mind. I will let you know, and might just send something to you just to let you know I am still here, available, and I think I did get the kinks worked out to be able to do something with you guys. So let me know on that. Also, like, subscribe, and comment on my tennis podcast. If you like what I'm doing here, let me know. If you like the racket of the week that will be coming up, I do like doing that and showing you and letting you know a little bit of history of racket that I do have, rackets that I have. As you can plainly see, the rackets that I have in the background. So with that too, I'll also be gearing up, and before the French Open, I'll probably have my co-host Rob Small on, and shout out to Rob. Thank you for being the co-host that you are. Always fun talking tennis with you also. But of course, talking tennis anyway is always fun for me to do. It's starting and kind of getting a little bit nice here in the weather-wise for us to start our outside season. And it's had a couple of days that kind of fooled us a little bit in 70s, and then it went back down to the reality of the season and the month that it is. So it's getting there, and probably hopefully by the end of April going into May, it'll start being a lot warmer and it'll get a lot nicer, and then we'll be able to get out there and have our summer circuit going. And then I'm in a tennis league this year, along with 12 guys, 10 or 12 guys are in the league. So I'll be playing my matches and seeing how it goes. So with that, that'll be pretty fun too, to be able to be in with that also. So with that, it's not going to be too long of a tennis podcast today, because there's with the ones that just finished up, and then you have then the Monte Carlo that's still going, and I'll give a recap of the Monte Carlo whenever it's done on the final, and I'll let you know that week of when it will be done for that. But now, anybody with the racket of the day here, this racket here, it's called the Cortland racket. As you can see with the guy right there, Cortland is what it is. That's a manufacturer, Cortland. And then it's called the Spitfire. So there were different, and this could be like the lower end of the Cortland racket per se. But I would say that this racket is roughly right around about the 60s, late 50s or 50s to 60s is what this racket is. Still very good shape. It's laminated wood, probably ash, very strong and sturdy. It does not have the trebling on the bottom of the racket or the top of the racket above the main strings, but it still does have the ribbons on the racket itself. And then with that, the ribbons are specifically kind of were made to wrap around the racket and with that red, white, and blue, and then wrap around the racket to just like keep the rackets uh, glued together is what it was for. So with that too, that's kind of what that was about, and it's called the Spitfire. Still very, very nice, very straight racket. You could probably actually hit very light with it. Don't hit too hard. You'd probably break the strings right out on that. But it's still pretty good racket. Still pretty good string job too. It's not good. It looks like it's the nylon when they first were coming out with the nylon strings with that in that particular part. Still very good racket all the way around too with that. So with that, if you do, you YouTubers, you're watching it right now and seeing the racket, you're hearing about it, you podcasters out there. So if you want to take a look at it, go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and take a look at it. Like, subscribe, and comment for everybody on that. Will be nice to be able to have a comment and see what you think. But still a very nice racket, very straight racket, very sturdy though too. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know, and then that's a racket of the week, kind of a little bit of a history of that and the history of the Cortland manufacturing company. Though Cortland actually then actually rackets were produced in Cortland, New York, in the Cortland line of the company's tennis racket division, and then primarily doing in primarily making them from the 50s to the 70s before the division was sold then to Wilson division, and it was known for its high quality laminated wood custom construction rackets. Popular vintage models included the National, the Collegian, Commander, and the Specialist, and I have the Spitfire. So it's probably one of the ones right below those, but still very nice racket, very sturdy racket on in the hands. And like I said, you could probably still hit the ball, but you wouldn't want to hit it very hard. You could hit it very lightly and be okay with it that way. So with that, hopefully I'll be getting another some Zooms in hopefully pretty soon with that. And I do hope you did like the one with Stan Smith, because that one was such a wonderful way to be able to get Stan Smith and have him on Zoom. And me, I was talking to Stan Smith, which was really a fun thing to do, to know I was talking to such a legend as Stan Smith. So everybody out there, anybody that that I've talked to, I appreciate you all. Johan Creek and Dick Stockton, Brian Gottfried, Mel Purcell, Vince Van Patten. I appreciate all of you for letting me have the time to be able to talk to you and interview you over my podcast. And then also with that, keep in consideration the charity that Dick Stockton has, Boots to Courts, and it's for military families around the world, that he goes into military bases, and then he teaches tennis for a day for the families of the service people. So keep it in mind that way. And with that, I do appreciate everybody that does tune in and let me know, comment, like, and subscribe. Everybody let me know, and I will continue to try to keep doing this, and I like doing it, and it's really fun for me to do. So everybody, if you're in some of the colder states, get out there, bundle up, and get out there and start getting used to the outside weather. Then if you're in the southern states, you're already outside playing, which is good, and keep it up, and keep it up with all my friends in Tulsa, and keep playing over at La Fortune or any courts that you do play at. Shout out to John, my friend in Tulsa. So everybody, you take care, and I will then talk to you this next coming up week, and have a great week.